Well, these 23 presidential candidates are in Des Moines for the Iowa State Fair. CBSN political reporter Caitlin Huey-Burns caught up with former Congressman John Delaney and asked him why he spent so much time in the state.
Congressman Delaney, you were the first candidate to announce for this presidential race, and you have been to all 99 counties here in Iowa. Why is Joe Biden then leading the polls here?
Well, Joe Biden has 100% name ID. Everyone knows who the vice president is. He's been in public service for 40 years. He was the vice president of the United States. So name ID is the most valuable thing you can have, and he's got the most. So that's going to correlate because a lot of voters aren't dialed into politics that much yet. The key word is there yet. And, so when they're polled on the phone, they're like, well, I know Joe Biden. And most people like Joe Biden, as do I. So he has high name ID and positive, people view him positively. But we're early. People don't know who most of us are.
So what are you doing here in Iowa? Explain to us kind of what your ground operation looks like in the state and how you plan to grow from there.
We have a couple dozen people here. We have 8 offices. I think we have the most offices of any campaign in the state. So the ground game is really important to us, and we plan on building it.
Last time I saw you was at the debate.
Yep.
You had a lot of speaking time in that debate, and it was kind of framed as moderates versus the more progressive wing. What was your takeaway from that debate, and how are you seeing that after, on the ground here?
Well, we've seen a real pickup because I think people saw me as making common sense points and standing up for my positions and being able to explain why my way forward is the right way and why other ways aren't the right ways. And so I do think it's framing between people going very far to the left and people trying to build big tent kind of party. And I think of those folks trying to build a big tent party, I think I clearly stood out in both nights of the debates.
The issue of gun control has been top of mind for a lot of people after the shootings last weekend. You served in Congress. You know how difficult this issue is. What would you do differently? How would a President Delaney get something through Congress?
Well, I think I'd run on a platform that could get a lot more Democrats elected in Congress. So I think that's important. I mean, if we run on stuff that not even half the Democrats support, we're going to have a hard time winning any elections. And so we got to be mindful that what we run on matters to issues like gun control, because we got to win. But I also think I'm the kind of person who's got a track record of getting things done. And you got to be able to get people together. You got to be able to stand up to the NRA. The current president, in my opinion, has been spineless with the NRA. He's consulting them now as we speak, which is not what a president should do. And I think I've got a track record of getting things done. And I believe I'll be able to get something done on gun safety better than any candidate.
Would you use executive order?
If I could, I would.
On the issue of guns?
Yeah.
And then looking forward to the next debate, are you guys close? Are you going to be on the debate stage next?
We're focused on making sure we're in either the September and October debates. We're working really hard at that.
How close?
We got a ways to go, but we think we're going to get there. We need a few more polls to come our way.
Some of the candidates have been calling the president a white supremacist. Do you think that he is?
Listen, none of us ever know what's in anyone's heart. This is what I do know. He says things, and he creates an environment that tolerates it. And as the president, that's about as bad as you can be. And so I think it's a bit of a distinction without a difference. Creating the environment to do it is just as bad as being it to some extent.
So you don't feel like Democrats need to use that term?
We can use whatever term we want. It seems to me he's clearly creating an environment that normalizes it. And he's got to change. And that's what we need more than anything else in a leader. We need someone who's decent, who wants to restore a sense of respect to who we are as a nation and get rid of the hate. And the president has used this cherished bully pulpit that he has, the most important microphone or loudspeaker any human being has. And he's used it in a terrible way to divide us, to encourage hate, to create an environment where racism and white supremacy is tolerated. And that's a damning condemnation.
And then finally, on the issue of trade, since it's big here in Iowa, is there anything that the president is doing on trade that you agree with?
No. I mean, he was right that we have an issue with China, but the way he's diagnosed the issue and the way he's handling it is terrible. I'm the only Democrat who supports the Trans-Pacific Partnership. I'll get us back there in 20 days. Every acre of land will go up in Iowa when I do that. Every commodity price will go up when I do that. I'm the best nominee for farmers by any measure.
And then finally, what are you looking most forward to at the state fair? Any treats that you like to?
Well, I love the pork chop on a stick. Okay. Because you can get a nice meal, but you can keep moving around.
Yeah, fan favorite. All right, good to see you. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much. Sure.